Why aren't your SDRs performing better? And why is throwing more headcount, more tools, or more budget at the problem won't fix it? If you're a B2B leader with a sales team, you've probably already invested heavily. Expensive databases, premium CRM, top-tier dialers, intent signals everywhere showing you exactly who's interested. And yet, your team is not booking enough meetings. So you're probably naturally thinking, let's hire more SDRs, get better tools, increase the budget. But that's actually making the problem worse, not better. Here's what almost no one realizes. The problem isn't your people, your tools, or even your budget. It's something fundamentally broken in how this role is designed. And it's hiding in plain sight. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You will realize why your investment never worked. But the good news is that there is a solution that too many B2B leaders don't even know exists. By the way, I'm Jérémy Grandillon, CEO and co-founder at TC9, a GTM automation agency. Over the last 2 years, we've worked with dozens of clients and spoken to hundreds of B2B leaders who are facing this exact problem. High investment, low output. I've also spent more than 8 years in B2B sales and built a following of 60,000 followers on LinkedIn talking about those topics every single day. So in this video, I'm going to reveal what's actually killing your SDR performance, show you why your current investments aren't working, introduce you to a solution that most leaders have never heard of, and walk you through our exact framework for implementing it without friction. So let's start with something that's probably frustrating you right now. You've invested in the best tools money can buy. ZoomInfo or Apollo for data, Salesforce or HubSpot for CRM, Outreach or SalesLoft for sequencing, and the fancy intent signal tools showing you who is engaging with your brand. Your tech stack is probably eating 6 figures a year, and yet your SDRs are still struggling eating their quotas. So here's what's actually happening. You buy a database, but someone still needs to search data in it, export lists, clean the data, and upload it to the next step of the process. You buy intent signals, but you still need someone to figure out what to do with them. You buy a dialer, but you still need to get the right phone numbers and someone to call those people. In the end, all these tools create more work, not less. So you end up with SDRs that are spending most of their time managing those tools instead of actually selling, or at least having conversation with interested prospects. They are doing data entry, they are troubleshooting integrations. No doubt that they are not hitting their quotas. They just don't have enough time to do it. So of course, leaders are looking for solutions and are often thinking of some classic options, like hiring more SDRs to handle more volume. But even if that increases the volume, that just multiplies the same initial problem. Your new SDR will still have the same 80-20 time split and then burn out and underperform, just like your current team. So you might think, maybe I'll just hire offshore so I get the same work but for lower costs. But in the end, you're still paying humans to do robot work. They will also struggle with the same problems, adding an international management layer that won't be that easy to manage. So maybe you're thinking, I'll just use what I have and go through it and improve our processes. And by the way, I think it's the better option in those three. But while you're doing this, your competitors are moving faster with new solutions like automation. This is why more tools, more headcounts, or even cheaper labor won't solve the core problem. So what is actually the problem? What is broken? All right, here is the insight that changes everything. The thing hiding in plain sight. Your SDRs are not underperforming because they're bad at sales. They're underperforming because the role itself is designed to be impossible to do well. You're literally asking one person to do two very different jobs: a data engineer or data operator and a salesperson. Let me break this down. On the data side, data engineer side of things, they are searching databases, building lists, enriching contacts, cleaning CRM data, setting up sequences, monitoring intent signals, and the list goes on and on. Those tasks are quite technical and they require a very specific skill set with attention to details, being comfortable with technology and process management. On the sales side of the role, they're having conversation, handling objections, building relationships, booking meetings, etc. So here we are looking for skills like empathy, communication, resilience. Now we can see the real problem. You're asking one person to excel in both those jobs. That's are significantly different. And on top of it, they have to switch from one to the other multiple times in one day. If you have already done some deep work, you know that's not how our brain works and that it's not the best way to be efficient in what we are doing. It's funny because you won't ever think of asking your IT manager to convince a prospect to buy your product or your services because you understand that's not in their skill set. Yet we are doing this exactly every day year after year with salespeople. This is why adding expensive tools or why hiring more SDRs won't fix the problem. This is why even your top performers will eventually burn out and underperform, because the role itself is broken. Once you see this problem, the solution becomes obvious. So here is the solution, and it's a role most B2B leaders don't even know exists. Yes, I'm talking about the GTM engineer. And no, they don't replace your sales team, they support them by automating the data side of their job. Here's how it looks in practice. Your sales reps refocus on what they're actually good at: conversations, relationships, making deals happen. GTM engineers specialize in automation and infrastructure. They build the system that feeds the reps with the right data at the right time. And it happens in the sales rep tools, not another one adding to your stack. This is how you finally connect all those tools that you've invested in and never delivered to make them finally work together. The databases, the CRM, the dialers, the intent signals, they're finally orchestrated and automated instead of being duct taped by your SDRs manually. So now, instead of having one person droning in two jobs, you have two experts working together, each doing what they're best at. And adding GTM engineers comes with three clear and fast benefits. One, your expensive tech stack finally delivers. Two, your SDRs can actually sell and prospect. And three, the performance becomes more predictable because all of this is data, and data can be tracked, so you make better decisions. So in short, you stop using humans to do robot work and you start automating things to finally leverage your talents. But here is the thing. Most companies try to implement automation and it fails spectacularly. They buy tools, hire GTM engineers, start creating workflows and force them on the team, and no one uses them. You should actually do the opposite. One thing we need to keep in mind is that humans in general don't like change. And the AI automation era isn't an exception, especially with salespeople who spend quite a lot of time and effort to actually find a workflow that kind of works, and they're probably not willing to risk their potential bonus at the end of the year. So over the last 2 years, and after working with dozens of clients, we've developed kind of a simple framework that we've called the wishlist framework to help with the change. It's a 4-step collaborative process that ensures that what you build is actually adopted, because the sales team and the GTM engineer co-create it. So here is how it looks. Step 1, start with the sales reps. Ask them where they're spending most of their time on the data side of their job. Usually it's things like building lists, enriching data, updating the CRM, setting up sequences. Those things will probably come up. Step 2 is to actually map the process. What data sources are they using? Where are they looking for additional information? What step are they taking? What defines a good output? At this stage, you're not building anything. You're just documenting what they currently do manually. And the more details, the better. Step 3 is to build a workflow that replicates exactly this. Nothing more, nothing less, just exactly what they said. And this is key. This is the way that you will be able to compare apples to apples. This task used to take 3 hours, now it takes 5 minutes. Same output, same quality. And everybody can see it if it has been documented properly. Step 4, get feedback and iterate. Yes, actually, the framework never ends. You want your sales rep to be so involved that they want to give you more feedback to make the workflow more and more efficient, more and more precise, and help them with their daily tasks. Reps suggest improvements, GTM engineers build them, and the automation gets better and better over time. This framework actually works because adoption is natural, sales reps are involved, and once they see the first results, they will definitely want more. 2, risk is low. By replicating their process first, you can measure the results and identify real benefits. And 3, the workflow is actually fitting your existing tech stack and it's not forcing you to change how you operate. This is also how you can ensure that the workflow will actually be used. And we just did that recently with a client who went from dealing with inbound leads manually, using multiple tools, searching for contacts here and there, and spending in the end hours doing this every day, to now have this exact same process that is done automatically in much less time. We are talking like hours versus a few minutes, with a better speed to lead. They don't have to wait for someone in the team to deal with the inbound leads coming from the day before or even older than that, because it's triggered automatically when the lead arrives. And they also get better data because we can trigger more data points and make no mistake compared to the manual process that happened before. I know, I just covered a lot with role design, why tools fail, the wishlist framework. So if you want to learn more about this, just take a look at our website, tc9.ai. And of course, if you found this valuable, subscribe to the channel. I break down GTM automation strategies, every week. Alright, let's wrap this up. This is what we covered today. Your SDRs are not underperforming because they are bad at sales. And it's not because you don't have the right tools either. They're underperforming because you're asking one person to do two jobs that are completely different and require different skill sets. Your expensive tech stack is not delivering ROI because your reps are spending more time trying to make them work than actually getting the benefit from it. We also saw that the best solution today is not to hire more SDRs or buy more tools, but to get a GTM engineer who is a specialist who automates the operational work so your sales team can actually focus on what they're good at: conversations and sales. And finally, we saw the way to actually implement this while getting adoption through the wishlist framework. So the sales team and the GTM engineers co-create the workflow from day one. Here is your tactical takeaway. This week, ask your SDRs or get your head of sales, ask the team how many hours they spend on the data side of their jobs, searching for information, manipulating tools, trying to connect them together. If the ratio is less than 80% selling, then you know why your meeting numbers are not where they should be. I hope this video gave you a new vision and a better understanding on how modern sales are working, and that it puts you in the right direction to improve your sales results. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.